All right, guys, welcome back. Today I've got the Alloyman 2-in-1 digital tape measure. Let's open this up and see what it's all about. Before we get started on this, if you guys want to pick any of the Alloyman products up, I've got some links down below to their Amazon store. If you use those links, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so this is the Alloyman digital tape measure. They call it a 2-in-1 digital tape measure. Basically, this can run off of Bluetooth and integrate with an app. You're going to get 16 feet on this tape measure, so it's not going to be super long, but this is going to be really handy for things around the house. Inside you get a manual, and on that manual you will see some QR codes right here that you can scan, whether you're Apple or Android, and you can basically download the app from here. And the app will allow you to do some extended functions, and we'll go over that here in just a few minutes. But first, it does come with a USB-A to USB-C cable. And then the only other thing in the box is the tape measure itself. It actually looks really good and it feels relatively sturdy. You're going to get a few buttons up here. You will get an on button, a function button, a unit button, and then a clear or off button. Now on the top here, you will get a nice screen that will display all of your measurements. Now there is no clip for your belt, which is kind of a downfall. That seems to be kind of a standard thing on most tape measures, but they do give you this kind of lanyard-like thing that you can, I guess, wrap around your wrist. Back here is the USB-C port where you'll charge it. And then over here you do get a little speaker that beeps whenever you start pressing these buttons. You can shut that function off so you don't have to have it beeping at you all the time. Now this does have an auto lock feature, so you don't have to actually lock it, but to retract it you do have to press the button. It does have two little magnets on the front, which are really nice to be able to kind of magnetize to whatever you're measuring. It does have a lot of measurements right here, which are really nice. You've got inches on one side and then centimeters on the other side. Now, most of the time you probably won't be actually looking at the tape. You'll be looking at the screen to see what the actual measurement is. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the buttons. Here, you'll just hold the on button, a long press, and that will actually turn the unit on. And as you can see here, it displays currently right now in inches. You've got your battery indicator, and then this indicator right over here in the corner tells you whether or not it's measuring at the front of the tape measure or the back of the tape measure. So if you do take out a measurement, you'll see that this actually starts to change. So right now we have 3.3 inches, but let's say you were butted up against, say, a wall or a window sill and you wanted to know how much this measurement was, including this. This unit button will switch between the front and the back of the tape measure, and you can tell it's really hard. You might not be able to see it on the screen, but there's a little tiny arrow indicating the front of the tape measure. Whenever you hit that, it'll change it to the back. You can see my measurement went up to 6.5 inches, and there's a little line back there at the back of the tape measure. You'll also get this on the screen that will indicate that it's going to the front or the back of the tape measure. This is a really handy feature, so you don't have to remember how long your tape measure is, and you can get an accurate measurement if you were to, say, measure the inside of a window or something like that. Now, if you wanted to store this measurement in memory, you just tap the on button, and now it's stored in memory. And then you can go ahead and take your next measurement, and you can store that in memory. Taking a look at this function button, it gets really detailed. This is going to be able to store things like length, midpoint area, and volume measurement. So if we've got our measurement right here, which is 3.6, and we hit the function button, as you can see right here, this is indicating that we're in the length measurement. If I tap it again, we're going to get into the midpoint area. And then again, we're going to get into the volume of an area. So if we wanted to do the volume of an area, simply just measure the area that you're at, change your measurements, and then whenever you get to the end here, it'll actually tell you the volume of the measurement that you actually made. These type of functions can be very useful and speed up a lot of process depending on what type of measurement you're wanting. Now, if we go back to the main screen, you can see here we're measuring in inches right now, but the unit button, if we hold the unit button down, it will change between measurements. So you can get all kinds of different readings depending on what style of measurement you want. Millimeters, centimeters, you can get it to measure in feet, inches. It's just a lot of different measurements that you can actually use depending on the project that you're going to be working on. So the last button is the clear and off button. If you single press it, it will clear whatever you've got in that memory for that time. And if you long press it, it will actually shut the unit off. Okay, so I've got the app running as you guys can see here. I'm going to go ahead and extend this out. As you can see on the screen, it will actually change on the screen. Now, for whatever reason, I can't get this to change from millimeters on the actual app on that main display, but that doesn't really matter because whenever you actually go to store this, it'll store it in the appropriate measurement. So whenever you hit the memory button on the actual tape measure, it will store it inside the app in the appropriate measurement. As you guys can see, as I'm changing this, this is displaying 4.1 inches, and in the app, 4.1 inches. If we extend this out, 8.9 inches, and then it saves it nicely inside that app. So you don't have to worry about writing this down. You can just open this app and the app will actually display all this for you. Now this app does have several more functions, but I think that this is the main one that most people will be using it for, is just to keep and store their measurements that they just took. So there you go. That's a super handy digital tape measure. If you guys are interested in purchasing one of these, I'll put some links down below. But as always, we'll see you guys in the next one.